Is AI generated content art? Mm, I'm not so sure. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to show you my painting process like I've been doing for the past 3 videos, but I also wanted to talk about a subject or a topic that has been relevant for some time, and especially relevant for people that like to paint and create music or write something, basically artists. And that's the topic of whether AI content can be labeled as art. It's an interesting topic for sure, but I think the conversation is very difficult to boil down to a conclusion or to have like a very concrete answer. But I wanted to give my opinion on it anyway, and I think for this I'd like to separate the topic into two perspectives, which would be the artist's perspective and the audience perspective, because I feel like they can be very different.
Right, so if we begin with the artist's perspective, to me at least, the answer is very, very clear. AI generated content is not art. And it's very simple because to me, art is a human process. To many artists, at least for myself, art is not just about the end result. It's about the entire process. There is a process that involves the artist in a way that AI cannot. There are emotions involved, there is discipline, and there is some, I would say, deeper connection to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it be dancing or painting or music making, it doesn't matter. And this deeper connection does not exist when you press a button or when you get a very nice prompt or whatever to the AI and then generate content in a couple of seconds. That doesn't exist. So whenever you have an idea or an emotion, or you want to express something, first and foremost, you think about it, you feel it, and you have this need to express it. Then you choose your tool to express that, and that might be a computer to write something down, or in my case, paint and brushes. It could be a music instrument, it doesn't matter. But the difference there is that all of this input that you give and all of these emotions that you, let's say, filter, or let's just say filter through those tools that you use, come from you, and they don't come from the tool. The tool isn't doing anything other than what you tell it to do, in the sense of it's not giving you input, it's not creating any solutions. Whatever you get at the end of that process, whether it's good or bad, it's just 100% a reflection of how you were able to use these tools that you chose. In my case, like I said, the paint and brush, to express whatever you had inside of you. That's it. And that's a very beautiful process because it involves a lot of patience, it involves a lot of practice, it involves, in some cases, some sort of like very deep concentration, which I would say sometimes it's comparable to meditating, and that's really, really valuable. We can take a real life example where, an example that's a little bit better known than myself, and I'm pretty sure that you might know who I'm talking about when I say the name of Claude Monet. He is in art history one of the most important painters there's been, especially if you like Impressionism. If we take his example, he wasn't just painting pretty gardens, and his entire life was intertwined with his art. It was a lifestyle, basically. And he created his garden at Giverny and cared for it every day and returned to it constantly with his brushes and canvases to paint it in with different perspectives, maybe he had different ideas in his head. And this already involves a ton of work, a ton of time and dedication. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. I don't think that anyone thinks that he's not a good artist, or that he didn't do, at the very least, a couple of masterworks. And his famous, for example, his famous water lilies weren't chosen at random. They were a reflection of his daily life and his love for nature and his devotion to capturing the light and the color in the water and in the plants. And it's like that. It's that intense sometimes for some people, I guess. And he would often paint the same subject multiple times at different times during the day, just to catch, little changes in the atmosphere, for example, and that would be reflected into the end result. And sometimes it would make such a difference, even if it's the same subject. But what I'm trying to say is, all of this is part of the art experience, or the artist experience. Of course, then we can talk about other artists that maybe aren't as traditional, and then went for a different type of perspective, like Duchamp. But I'm going to talk about him in the audience perspective. So going back to Monet, like I said, it's a very interesting process that he has and that he shows. Of course, I'm talking about someone that's a master at this, and not everyone has the time nowadays to follow that path. But in a couple of hours, you can do something similar. You can really practice your patience. You can practice observation and memory and feel your emotions while doing a painting exercise, for example. It doesn't have to be a masterwork, obviously, but those same things apply on a much smaller scale. And it's very rewarding. It's much more rewarding than, in my eyes, typing some prompt to an AI and getting a result in a second. There is no connection to that, at least for me. That is something really interesting, and to me it really contrasts with what AI does, because AI doesn't have this type of attachment to anything, or this intention or devotion to anything. It doesn't wait for the flowers to bloom or the light to shift. It doesn't know what a garden is or how to care for it. It doesn't care for the garden either. There is no feeling there. It's just it's solving an equation in a matter of seconds and giving you a result. I mean, I can talk about it for a lot of for a longer time, but I think it might be a little too tedious to listen to me for that long. But now I would be interested in putting the other perspective, which is the audience's perspective, because then the answer is not as simple. Now let's take the audience perspective, and the answer here is a bit more complicated in my eyes, because when you look at a piece of content that's like a creative piece of content, in my case, I'm going to talk about a painting. When you look at a painting, do you feel inspired? Do you feel moved? Do you reflect on it? What's the most important thing for you there? Is it the artist? Is it the context, or the piece of art itself? I mentioned in a video before that, to me, something that I really like is when the piece of art speaks for itself and you don't need any other explanation other than what you're looking at. And if we take that as like our starting point, basically, then we can also argue that those things can be achieved through AI. And then why would it matter that much if the origin of the artwork that you're looking at. I mean, if it moves you, if it makes you think about stuff, then now let's look at the example of Duchamp. I mentioned him before, and if we think about his famous work, The Fountain, which is a porcelain urinal placed in a gallery in 1917. Obviously, he caused a lot of outrage at the time, but he was trying to make a point. In that it's that art is not just about the craft, it's also about the context and the meaning. And by choosing that object and presenting it as art, he forced viewers at the time to question their own definitions. And there is a similarity there with AI. Even if the process is mechanical, it challenges to ask what makes something art. Is it the skill, the idea, the impact on the audience? Is it exactly what we're looking at, or a combination of these questions and points? I think it becomes a little bit too personal there. We cannot really say that if something moves you and that's the only thing you're looking for in an art piece, then it doesn't matter who made it, right? Or how it was created. So for some people, if they get moved just by the fact that they're looking at an image created by AI, then I guess that would qualify and put that piece of content in the art category. Now, obviously, I also have my opinion here, but I think it's very irrelevant. And having looked at these two extremes, Monet and Duchamp, one rooted in basically love for the craft, and the other one in concept and provocation, I would say that AI art floats somewhere between these two sides of the spectrum. I think a little bit more towards the concept side of things, but yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the person you're asking. So to end up the conversation, I would really like you to do something, and that would be to think of a subject that you want to paint and then do it. If you can, go buy a canvas, some colors and some brushes, and try to focus on the process. Don't worry about the end result, or whether it's perfect, or whether it's you're doing it fast enough or whatever. Just try to pay attention to the part before that, and try to think about the subject in detail and how you would like to paint it, and which materials are the best for that, whether you want it in a small or a big scale, all of these things. Then enjoy the process of doing it. Even if you make mistakes, those are okay, they're part of it, and look at them. And afterwards, do the same thing using AI, whichever AI can produce an image, and try to see these differences that I have been talking about. I think you'll notice that that very big difference between being an artist and being the audience, and then try to see which one moves you a little bit more. I mean, it can be that it could end up being that you're moved a lot more by the AI piece than by the one you produced, but give it a chance, give it a go, and see how you feel. So I'm not really sure where you stand on this discussion, but let me know in the comments. And like I said, the most important thing is that you try it out and that you see for yourself how you feel whenever you try to generate a piece of content by giving a prompt to the computer, and how you feel when you actually take on a brush and grab some color and start painting. So yeah, if you like this type of content, please let me know as well in the comments, and remember to comment, like, and subscribe.